G'day, big bikers. Well, I'm actually not sure if it's Monday or Tuesday, and I'd actually have to look at the calendar to find out. But what I do know is that it is ride day today. Let's go. Leave me alone. I'm just going to go for a little ride, have a look around. I saw on the map there's a lake a little bit southeast of here, so, or southwest. It's Love Lucendale. They're a really nice little town, this. I'm actually really surprised how nice it is. Great coffee shop and deli. They do some really nice food, and there's a pub there that'd be worthwhile stopping in if you're cruising through, although just with the current COVID restrictions, it's only weekdays. It doesn't open till 4 in the afternoon, so they're not doing lunches at the moment. But I'm just going to call in here, get some fuel. It's a 24-hour fuel bowser, so I don't have to take my gear off. And after we do that, while I'm doing that, how about that? So while I'm doing that, while I'm filling up with fuel, I'll play the intro and then come back and see if we can figure out what we're going to do today. Alright, back in a minute. I used to feel a bit funny about using these 24-hour. I mean, I don't get a choice. This time, if you remember, last video where I had the flat, well, the last riding video where I had the flat tyre, I was also almost out of fuel. So having to stop and get fuel kind of is almost mandatory for me now. Although I could probably stretch it and get to another one that's out this way, but I don't. I'm reluctant to, well, I won't say I'm reluctant to, because I just did it and I didn't have any choice, but, and I understand why fuel companies do it, because that self-serve thing is great, but it would be great if they dropped the fuel price to reflect the fact they don't have any, you know, there's no facilities there. Like, it's the same price there as you pay at a full service, you know, service centre, so you know, I'm kind of like, okay, well, anyway, so that's like using those self-pay things at the shopping centre, you know. You go, okay, well, the prices haven't come down, so basically, you know, you've cut the service level, you've cut the staff, you're making all the money, the prices haven't come down, and now I'm doing the work for myself. So, anyway, just cranky old man today. Alright, so the plan is today we're just going to go for a run. There's a few areas I want to try and find. There's a lake called Leake I want to try and find, and there's a there's a bit of forestry that I can see. I probably won't do any dirt today, just purely and simply because the roads that I want to get onto, there's not much dirt connecting them, so I'm probably just going to stick on the black stuff for most of today. Kingston SE, I got contacted by Ian, the SE, because if you remember in the last video I did, I'm on the beach, and Ian sent me a message saying Kingston SE. The SE is because there's, well, stands for southeast, obviously. What's that? What's that? Mrs. Jones wants to go on the dirt. Okay, alright, we'll go. I don't know where it goes. Okay. So yeah, so Ian sent me a message saying Kingston SE, the SE stands for southeast, but the reason that the SE is there is because there's actually 2 Kingstons in South Australia, so the other one's on the Murray River apparently. So thanks for that, mate, appreciate it. And also I had a few people, well, couple. It seems the South Australians are a little bit more aware of the local history. So I've had a couple of people comment and say that was the wrong Encounter Bay. I went and checked the coordinates that Matthew Flinders reported and wrote in his journal. I had the right Encounter Bay. I was just too far, I suppose, east, because where they met was actually off the coast, just near Victor Harbour, or near about 5 k's off Victor Harbour. That's actually where they met. So, alright, so where are you taking us now? She's a crazy girl, doesn't want to do the black stuff. Okay. So yeah, and look, I love the feedback. You know, I've never ever said that my history commentary is 100% accurate. I'm paraphrasing a lot of stuff. I'm quoting a lot of stuff from memory, from stuff I've researched over the last couple of weeks or months. So if I get something wrong, you know, don't shoot me. It's all good. But I do appreciate being given the right information, and so when I was able to confirm that the investigator and the geograph, which was the boat that Nicolas Baudin was in, the Le Geographe, and Matthew Flinders was in the investigator. So interestingly enough, Nicolas Baudin, his map, he actually finished his map of Australia based on a lot of the information, because when they were sitting chatting well, they weren't really sitting chatting, but as cartographers they had a very, very similar interest in where they'd been and where they were going. The other thing I got wrong is I said that Matthew Flinders was coming east to west and Baudin was going west to east. It was actually the other way around. I went and just rechecked that. So Baudin had come in from the Pacific. So, and as I said, the French history side of things is absolutely fascinating. And when I get closer down towards Kangaroo Island, I'm going to try and go for a ride on Kangaroo Island. I don't know what's involved again. I'm sure it's just a ferry ride. But some really, really interesting stuff happened down there with the French, and I'll talk to you about that when I get down there. But France and England were at war, but not so much, obviously, that there was some issues in terms of when they met. It was basically more of a European thing. So they actually spent quite a bit of time together and going over the maps and sharing information, because they, back in those days, that's the only way they would do it. They would make a copy, the cartographers would make a copy of the map they were working on, and they would share that with another cartographer, and it was just, the knowledge sharing was fantastic. But it was Nicolas Baudin that actually managed to finish the very first map and print the very first map of Australia. It actually wasn't Matthew Flinders. Now, Matthew Flinders had a lot of contribution, and after Matthew Flinders had finished sailing around Australia and mapping all that, and he spent quite a bit of time down in the region, he actually went back to England, but he only got as far as Mauritius. But he thought that, you know, because it was a scientific mission, not a military mission, he would have been okay. There would have been no problem with him stopping at Mauritius, but they actually imprisoned him in Mauritius for 6 years, Matthew Flinders, and he spent quite a bit of time in Mauritius. You know, all his observations he was able to put onto the map, all his you know, cartography information he was able to draw up the map, and I think that's probably where Baudin actually died in Mauritius. He got quite sick from his time sailing around the Pacific. Now, we don't hear a lot about it, but and probably South Australia is a little bit more aware of it, because there's quite a few, like the Fleury Peninsula is actually named after one of the other French sailors that came down here. But if you have a look, then what a lot of people don't realise is how close we came as Australians to being French. And it's really releasing. Napoleon Bonaparte, Napoleon was really proactive in keeping an eye on the English, and he actually had, when Captain Phillip in 1788 first landed with the first fleet in Australia, they were being shadowed by some French vessels. One of them was called La Perouse, the suburb in Sydney called La Perouse. And there's a really interesting history about the French, because if you have a look at the map at the time, and even now, New Caledonia, Tahiti, all of French Polynesia, all the Polynesian islands were at one stage French provinces. If you have a look, New Zealand was first settled by the French, and Arkaroola. Just south of Christchurch. So Arkaroola was a French settlement before the British signed a treaty with the Maoris. You have a look at the Indian Ocean, and the French basically had full control of Africa at one stage before the British took over. But if you have a look at Mauritius and the Maldives and Madagascar, they were all French provinces. And so the whole lower southern Pacific and southern Atlantic and parts of Chile is very strong French influence over through South America. So the whole southern hemisphere, the French were very dominant in the early or the late 1700s, early 1800s, and so they were mapping Australia, and in fact at one stage, it was Napoleon Bonaparte that sent the order, but I think it was Flinders who actually went to Sydney and did a report for Bonaparte on what it would take to invade Sydney Harbour and then take over Australia. It was just a report that was done, but it is one of those really interesting things. Australia could quite easily have been parlez-vous français? Anyway, that's a completely different subject. Alright, I've been jabbering, so that's just, if you didn't know that stuff, it's really, really interesting. And Matthew Flinders is the guy. I mean, in terms of all of Australian history, he's the guy. He's the guy, just an incredible sailor, incredible navigator, amazing cartographer. A lot of Matthew Flinders' maps were still current up until World War II. And in some areas, it wasn't until GPS satellite tracking and sonar became strong that a lot of his maps were made redundant. So, an incredible cartographer. Anyway, I've been jabbering. I'm going to. I think I know where I'm going, but I'll come back and talk to you when something interesting happens. So it's 18 degrees at the moment, a little bit overcast. It's 1:30 in the afternoon. I think the maximum for today was 20. It's around here. It's just beautiful riding conditions. I tell you, I'm a little bit taken by South Australia, this southeast corner of South Australia. I'm a fan. It's okay. The riding's not technical, but lots and lots of it, and lots of really good destinations. So. Particularly around here. So later this week, I'm going to move my caravan down to Coonawarra. I've heard they've got some wine down there. I'm going going to move down to Coonawarra, do some riding around there. I might even do some day trips down to the state border down near South Australia, Victoria, where they meet right at the bottom of the ocean. So I might go down there and see what see if we can do that next week, because I want to tick that one off the list. And then the whole coastline along there is supposed to be pretty spectacular, so I want to go and check that out as well. Lots to do in the coming weeks. Let's have a look where we are. According to the map, there is a track there. So it goes around the boundary of the conservation park, though. It's not the direction I want to go, but how's things with you Victorians? Because you can now go for a 25-kilometre ride, which is great. Actually, got a message from Matt, who he's got his first ride. What have you had it? 4 months or something. He got his first ride on his Tiger 900. Oh, jeez. Just keep your chin up, fellas. Not long now, and you'll be out for a ride. So look, it's just a really I don't think Dan's got many friends left. He's been proven to be a liar. He's been doing things that there's no medical advice for it. There's no medical reason for him to be doing. He's just become a megalomaniac. According to my map, this road is unsealed. Spending a lot more time on the black stuff than I actually wanted to. Again, this road's supposed to be unsealed. Actually, they're pines. They're eucalypts of some sort. Some kind of hardwood, maybe. Hello. That's very loose gravel on the top of that. Such is the nature of off-roading in southeast South Australia. You're basically linking up all the dirt roads between properties. I love this. It's just everywhere. Every time I just go, where does that go? Leake Road. Look at that. How good's that countryside? Oh, this is cool. It's a hill. Hey everybody, look, it's a hill. Oh, there's the lake. Big lake. I'm only walking in this long grass because I've got my motorcycle boots on too, by the way. It's not something I would normally do if I was just wearing sneakers. Not without banging it down with a stick. Just to create some noise and scare away any Joey Blakes. I don't know what I can do. Now that I'm at Lake Leake. Mount Burr. I wonder if that's that one over there. It's kind of on the way back. I should get around here. That'll take us around. It might take us to Mount Burr, and then there's a track up the back of Mount Burr that I can use to kind of get back up. There's a lot of options, a lot of choices. Alright, let's go that way. Hey mate, yeah, that's a rig, but he's got some toys in there. Sauce for divorce. Okay. Yuck. Yuck. There's a roads up here, eh? Hang on. Turn that back camera on. It looked like a track, but it was very, very boggy. Anyway. Alright, so I need to be heading back over that way. I think this looks like it's going in the right direction. The roads, apart from a couple of stretches here and there, the condition of the road has actually been fantastic in most cases. Now, this one. I think I can get there this way. So it looks like there's lots and lots of riding Tower Road. Looks at the time. Goes, why not? I mean, how can you ride past a road that says Tower Road? It's starting to get a bit bleak though. It's like the clouds are getting quite thick. Alright. It's the tower we're looking for, but it, that doesn't look like a fire tower, like an observation tower. It's more like a communication tower. Let's go and have a look. It's kind of in the right direction, Oh, yeah, kind of not. I wonder if the road goes all the way through though. If it goes all the way through, we'll be able to get through. Paranoid about tyre pressures at the moment. Yeah, it looks like we can get all the way through. There is an observation tower up here. You can see the coast from here. Wow. Authorised personnel only. Not really surprising. That's a pretty impressive view though. Oh. Restricted area. I don't know if you can see that or not, can you? It's a very wide angle with lots and lots of cleared land and forestry. Let's go back down to the intersection. I think it's a job for Doris. You know what I'm thinking. Last time I was near forestry like this, I was with Scotty at his place over in New South Wales, down near Tumut there. And that's right. I think it was the last time he crashed his Tiger. He sold his Tiger and he's now got an Africa Twin. Smart man. That's right. Came off in the mud, didn't he? Well, no, technically, and if you're talking to him, and if I was talking to him now, I'd be saying technically he didn't fall off. He just slid into a ditch, and that's different. Anyway, laughing with you, Scotty. Look at this countryside though, would you? Wow. I mean, the wide-angle lens is just not doing any justice at all, but you go out over the top of it, you can see down to the coastline, which is pretty cool. Down towards Millicent, according to this, so Millicent Robes are down that way. I've been to the pine groves. It's got to work shaking around too much. Stopped to change the battery in the camera. I was giving this most amazing dialogue and talking to myself for about, I don't know, 10 minutes, and then I looked down and see the camera wasn't on, so I figured it's a flat battery because I've been rabbiting on a fair bit. But what I was saying was that just the last couple of, one of the things I love about getting out the bike, and I know you all do, and I don't, you know, for you guys in Victoria, I'm not saying this to rub it in, and holy cow, when you guys get, you know, the brakes taken off you, I really do hope you can just get out and have that ride you need, because it's cathartic, isn't it? It's just so good to be able to clear your mind and just go through all your thoughts and just have a little talk to yourself. And I just love it, because, you know, the last couple of days I've been having a bit of a pity party about, you know, the changes that in my life, and you know, COVID-19, and I've lost my job and I don't have an income. You know, apart from JobKeeper, I'm on JobKeeper, but eventually that's going to run out, and I can't sustain. Well, I can sustain it for a while, but eventually I'm going to have to go back and do some more work before I call it quits. And I was just having a bit of a pity party about the fact that, you know, I had a fantastic lifestyle. I flew all over the Asia Pacific region, and this is just in the last 5 years, you know. Out of the 10 years prior to that, I was flying all over the world. and you know, and I flew to the Pacific Islands and New Zealand and Hong Kong and Singapore and all over Australia, and you know, met some amazing people. I've stayed at some amazing places. I've had a whole, what's this thing crossing the road? It's like a rat. It is. It's a big jolly rat. But I had this. I was flying business class. I was staying in expensive hotels. But I had a lot of free time. I mean, I could work from anywhere. It was a magnificent lifestyle, and I was very, very pleased with it. And I just didn't see. Well, no one did. And look, you know, COVID's hit a lot of people really, really hard. Hasn't hit some people at all, but it's hit some people. It's been good for them. I mean, I've got a mate. And I'm talking about, me feeling sorry for myself. I've got a mate in Brisbane, good mate Al. How are you, buddy? And he's got a grocery store. He's got an independent grocery store. And they've just been doing record days every day since this whole thing started, particularly during the toilet paper pandemic that we had, you know. And but you know, just recently he's had some guys come and start work for him that are 787 pilots, Qantas 787 pilots, filling shelves and working the night shift at a grocery store. You know, they've had a reduction in their income of probably the best part of 80 or 90%. One of the guys turns up to work in his Ferrari, right? Just a really, really... So these are guys that have dedicated their life to being pilots. They have spent an enormous amount of money getting all their tickets to get up to the commercial level. They get a job with Qantas and they get trained on the most sophisticated, most latest model aircraft that Boeing could produce, the 787. And it's a glamorous job. And it's not just that, but they're also in charge of... There's a kangaroo on the side of the road just here. A little wallaby, actually. They're in charge of the lives of hundreds of people every time they fly. They are the ultimate authority when they're in the air. It's an incredible responsibility. And these guys have had their wings clipped. You know, thousands. A guy Dent, you know, how are you, mate? Like he's had his wings clipped. He's worked for Virgin. I've had my wings clipped. There's people out there that their lifestyle has changed dramatically, and I was having a pity party about that. And I've been sitting around kind of moping about the fact that I'm going to have to go get a job. I don't know, driving a harvester or a tractor or something, which I don't really mind. I've got no problem with. But you know, when I look at the humility of the 787 pilots who have had to go and work in a grocery store, driving a tractors, or you know, I'm not going to be a shearer. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I just need to have a ride, get some clarity, suck it up a bit, and then just get on with it, because this thing has had a massive impact on so many people. And again, with all sympathy and empathy for you fellas in Victoria, it's just been, you know, really, really terrible for you, because you haven't been able to get out, whether you've lost your job or not, whether you've been able to continue working. You know, it's just been a terrible thing. But add to that the fact that you can't go riding, can't leave your home. That's just, oh man, that you guys make it out of this, or just nothing but respect for you. And so I just keep your chin up and keep going, and you'll be able to come riding on the dirt with me soon. No, I'm not going back to Victoria though. You'll have to come to South Australia. I'm just appreciating how just amazing it is to be out on the bike and just get some helmet time and some clarity, and just work through that stuff that, you know, as I said, I've been having my own pity party. I miss my lifestyle. Facebook keeps on sending me reminders of things that I posted up years ago, you know, from Fiji or from New Caledonia or from New Zealand or, you know, over in Western Australia. They're just posting up all these reminders, just reminding me how good my life used to be before COVID-19. And the aviation industry has been destroyed, and it's not going to come back for many, many years. And all the things that were of value to me, not to me, but all the things that made me valuable in that industry, my network, my connections, the types of fleets, the understanding of the platforms, the way the industry works, who the people are, what the contracts are, or what the purpose of the contracts, the intention, all that's gone. All those connections are gone, all those contracts are gone. So, you know, I have this little, as I said, just having a little pity party all by myself. So, anyway. I feel great now I'm on the bike. Alright folks, thanks for tuning in. I will talk to you next time. Thanks for tuning in. You know the drill, hit subscribe, give it a like. Alright, see ya.